Growing up, I had a strong interest in being a doctor, specifically a radiologist. And when I was attending Garrett Middle School, I actually went with my stepmother to the hospital and I shadowed one of the radiologists over at Ephraim. And I was still interested in it, but I realized that I was a little more interested in some other science and math type careers. And so I started looking into meteorology and astronomy. So when I was sitting in your seat today, that's kind of where I thought my career was going to go. I was going to do the weather, not on TV, but I wanted to do the weather. But as I went through high school, I did a lot of research into weather programs and astronomy programs, and decided that meteorology was where I wanted to be. But I wanted to do something specific with meteorology. I didn't want to, I didn't want to do TV. I didn't want to just work at the National Weather Service office and be just a plain forecaster. I wanted to do something unique. And so I had always had a little bit of an interest in aviation. I traveled a lot growing up and had seen a lot of airports through the years. And so I began researching aviation meteorology. As you, of course, know, when planes fly, they're flying through clouds and they're flying around weather. And so they, of course, have to have meteorologists specifically for that to help them forecast and tell them where they can and can't go and what the conditions are for their destination as well. So I started researching schools, and I narrowed down my selection of schools to a few, mainly Florida schools. I think I was looking for warm weather. But I was really interested in aviation weather and aviation forecasting. So I went down to school in Daytona Beach, Florida at Embry-Riddle and started my weather degree program. And when you start school at Embry-Riddle, everything revolves around aviation since it's an aviation-focused school. And so I really got immersed in, with lots of pilots, with air traffic control degree programs, and then some engineering programs. So I was really immersed, and my interest started to grow in aviation. I realized that I really, really liked aviation, and perhaps I wanted to do more than just weather. So I started a minor in air traffic control, and I loved my air traffic control classes. And as I progressed through college, I did an internship between my junior and senior year forecasting for United Airlines, and I thought, wow, this is going to be great. I'm going to get lots of good experience, and this is really the direction I want to go. I did the internship in that summer, and I realized that I really was not having much fun drawing maps sitting in an office all day. I really wanted something a little more fast-paced and something not quite as repetitive. And so I decided that I would just do my master's degree in aviation management at Embry-Riddle as well. And through that, I thought, well, I could go back and be an air traffic controller, and that would help me progress to be a supervisor or a manager in the future if I had that master's degree. So that was kind of my plan. So now I'm on, I think, plan 5 by this point in my life in college. And so I started working on my master's degree and started researching more aviation management type opportunities. And actually, I remembered a TV show where there was it was called LAX. I think it only lasted one season, but the show was focused on the airport manager of the Los Angeles airport and kind of her day-to-day life. And I remembered that, and I thought, wow, that was really interesting. Maybe airport management is something I would be interested in too. And so I did some research, and I applied for a couple of internships, and I took the first one that I was offered. And so I moved to Casper, Wyoming. And I started a job working directly for the airport manager, doing some day-to-day activities at the airport, and really, really enjoyed my position there. And they liked me enough to keep me, and so they created a position for me, and I actually stayed in Casper and started my official first job out of graduate school there in Casper as the projects and programs manager. And so from there, I wanted to grow my career. I knew I wanted to become an airport manager myself and not be working for someone else, have my own airport. And so I started looking for positions, and I went to a town in southwest Wyoming called Rock Springs and became the airport manager there for a little while. It was a very stressful job, and it always wasn't easy, but I really, really enjoyed my job there in Rock Springs. But I had loved Alaska, and I had spent summers in Alaska in college and knew I wanted to come back up to Alaska. And so when the opportunity presented itself to take a position as an airport consultant in Alaska, I jumped right on it and moved to Alaska, where I live today.